I'm Chris Sarra. I'm the director of the Stronger Smarter Institute.
And I'm Sharna Beahan, and I'm a teacher by trade, but working at James Cook University at the moment.
Great that you can join us on this audio blog, everybody. I wanted to let you in on a conversation with an exceptional teacher, Sharna Beahan, who spent a long time in Orange at the start of her teaching career, but is now in Townsville, working at James Cook University. Hi, Sharna. How are you going?
I'm well, thank you.
Can you just give all of us just a bit of an insight into your teaching career? Because it's not a lengthy one, but it's been a great one.
Yeah, it sure has. I started out, I was lucky, I was on a full scholarship throughout university, and I started teaching. I got a permanent placement. I started teaching in Orange in 2008, and from there I was given a lot of fantastic opportunities to embark on beginning teacher workshops and things like that. And so I've been teaching, this is my third year that I've been teaching, and so it's a short career, but in that short time I've been lucky enough I was a participant in the Stronger Smarter program early last year, and from there just so many opportunities and things have happened that have been so positive for me as a person and me in my career. But yeah, so I just enjoy teaching, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah, great. And one of those fantastic opportunities you talked about is no doubt working with another exceptional teacher and one who is more experienced, Philippa Hughes.
Yeah, Philippa she was my assistant principal in Orange, and she was also my mentor as a beginning teacher, and she's a fantastic teacher, exceptional skills in literacy, and very passionate about Aboriginal education and just education in general.
Sharna, the reason I wanted to chat with you and the reason I was so keen for everybody to listen in on our conversation was some time ago we talked about a particularly challenging student that you had, and one that was creating challenges for all sorts of other teachers.
Yeah.
But somehow you managed to crack this child and get him on track.
I did.
Yeah, tell us about the student so people can get an idea.
I'd love to talk about him. He's my success story, and he'll always hold a special place in my life. But at the end of last year, we received our roles, and I had a really strong feeling that I was going to get this child in my class, and no doubt I looked at the role and his name was at the top of my list. And this in a way, it frightened me, intimidated me, because I knew he was a challenging student, but it also, I saw it as a challenge and an opportunity. So immediately before I was getting him in my class, I went out into the playground and just started to gradually build a relationship with this child, a rapport with this child. So, I started off with simple things like saying hi, and then I started getting involved in the games that he was doing in the playground, which was quite difficult because he was a very challenging child. And then I got this child in my class, and this was at the start of this year, 2010, and this child came from an extremely difficult background. He has been in foster care in and out his life. He's 10 years old, and basically he's moved from home to home every 3 months because he's so challenging in his behaviour that the carers just they can't cope with him and don't want to keep him for a long term. He's got an abusive background, and he's a child that had teachers intimidated as well as the children. So he was well known in the school as a difficult child.
How old was he?
He was 10, and he was in grade 3, so he was actually way too old for his year, but because of the challenges that he had, he'd been brought, set back and brought back to year 3. So he was the eldest in my class, as well as by far the most challenging.
Yeah, and it sounds like his relationship with other teachers, you kind of described it pretty challenging.
Yeah.
And not that positive by the sounds, but
no.
For many, I guess, it was what was to be expected, both from his side and from the other teachers' side.
Yeah, that was it.
You said about delivering something that was unexpected. I mean, I was interested to hear you talk about just some little things, like saying hello in the class, in the playground, and just connecting.
Yeah.
What was his response at that early stage?
In the early stages, it was quite negative. I copped a few swear words and turning the back and running away from me, as if to think, who are you and why do you care? And I knew that was going to happen. That was my expectation. But and I suppose because I was so determined, I knew that I was going to have him in my class, and I knew that if I didn't put the effort in, there was no way that we would have a positive year. And so I really went out of my comfort zone, and I really pushed myself to form a rapport. And to me, if you form a rapport with a child, that's the most important thing in your classroom. It comes before teaching the academic stuff. The relationship with the students is the most important thing. Once you have that rapport, the children will do absolutely anything for you, and the respect comes with the rapport.
Yeah, I've heard that before somewhere. So you ended up in your classroom.
Yeah.
Tell us some of the specifics now about how you set about connecting with this kid so that learning could be a positive thing for him.
Yep. Well, when I got him in the room, I was told by other staff members that as long as he's not hurting himself or other children, let him go. He will sit there, he will do nothing, that's fine. And when I heard that, it didn't sit with me. I thought, no, it's not fine. I can't have a child sitting in my room doing nothing for a year. So I went home and had a chat to my mum, as I do, and, we just talked about what I was going to do, my action plan, so to say, and because I'm all about reforming the rapport, I thought that's my strongest point, so that's what I'm going to do. So we started in small steps, and basically I'd go and find him in the playground before class and say hi to him and just hang with him and show him that I was interested in really forming a rapport with him, and I wasn't just another teacher who was here to yell at him or put him on detention. So,
or let him sit in the classroom.
Yeah, or let him. That's exactly right. That it just wasn't acceptable to me. So they were the little things. And when I got him in the classroom, I noticed he had, because of his background, he was quite a fidgety and he suffered from anxiety. So I thought, simple things. I bought him a stress ball, and because I knew that the other kids would notice. So what I did is I talked to him and I said, this stress ball is for you, and no one else, if I see it, I take it. And because I had worked at building up this little, the rapport with him, he actually, and I thought, this may not work, but it did. And so every day I saw him squeezing this ball, and it took the anxiety away from him. And what I also did, and I think this is really important, a lot of people think that by talking to the rest of the class, it may not have been a good thing, but it was a good thing in our case. And what I did is I sent this child on a message so that I had the rest of the class, and I sat down with the class and talked to them about this child, and we talked about his background, and because everybody knew, it was the elephant in the room, everyone knew why he was like he was, and everyone was afraid of him. And the rest of the class said, they didn't want that anymore. So they worked together with me. They understood why he got to have a stress ball, and they were fine with it. They turned themselves around from being children that were afraid of him to children that wanted to be his friend, because he gradually transformed into this wonderful child that he was all along, but he wasn't having the opportunity to bring that out.
Yeah, it's an awesome story. Just incidentally, how much did the stress ball cost? Do you remember?
Oh, $2 at the reject shop.
Yeah, I mean it's a small price to play. It's a small price to pay for such a tremendous reward, and the fact that you could work with the class to get all of them on board for everybody's sake. I mean, it's really powerful. But tell us about the results. How did things turn around for him individually?
Things were fantastic. And, I mean, it took 10 weeks, and it wasn't easy, and it was a lot of language and scaffolding. Like, I'd use language, and then the kids would pick up on that language, and they'd say to the child, that's not good. That's not a good thing to do. Is that a good choice, And the choice thing became a real, it was a massive part of our class. The kids would use it, and then the child, this boy, would use it as well. And the turnaround was amazing. And when I said it's not easy, I also did give up lunch and recess breaks and went out into the playground because that was his territory. So, I went in and made him comfortable by showing him that I was really interested in getting him on board and really interested in forming that rapport. So that was another thing that I did as well.
Yeah, but, and it sounds like you might give up your morning teas and lunches from time to time, but again, like $2 for a stress ball, you're getting a hell of a lot in return.
Absolutely.
For
in the end, the kids are going home happy, he's doing his work, and I'm going home absolutely on top of the world.
Yeah, you might work hard for the first 10 weeks, but
That's right.
For the remainder of the year, you've got a really nicely working classroom that's not hijacked by one kid who's grumpy for the whole year. It's a fantastic story.
And some of the results too, there's one that in particular has sort of stood with me. When I got him, I was told that he'd probably do a maximum 3-4 pages of work in the entire year. And after the 10 weeks, from week 3 to week 10, he had done everything that the rest of the class had done. His maths book was full, his handwriting book was full. He'd done just as everyone else had done. He was just a part of the class. He wasn't that child that everyone was frightened of, or the child that runs out of the room and slams the door and swears at everybody. He was just like everybody else.
Yeah, it sounds like everybody wins in that circumstance. Sharna, what advice would you give to young teachers listening in, and even older teachers who've been around, who've encountered this very same sort of child in their classroom?
Definitely don't let other staff or other people's opinions affect your experience. Accept it as a challenge, and basically, you know, you're the adult, you're the teacher, you're responsible for this relationship to work. So you need to do everything that you can think of to make that rapport. If you have a rapport with a child, you can achieve anything.
Sounds like some really exceptional advice from an exceptional teacher and an exceptional human being. Sharna, thanks for sharing that story, and I hope others enjoyed hearing it as much as I did.
Thank you so much. I was happy to.